Leo rising. Welcome to Quantum Connections Oracle with T-Bear, August 2025. Let's get started. Hello, Leo rising, August 2025. We call in your ancestors, Mama Earth, Father Sky, all of the nature spirits around us, the trees, anybody who's been supporting you, whether you know it or not, anybody you've been accepting their support. I'm vibing a relative you didn't used to like that's coming in to vibe with you. Thank you, Leo. All right, Leo, we are using Kim Cran's Archetypes, the Wild Unknown deck today because I think she's a genius. All right, Leo rising. Welcome to August 2025 from NorCal. Here we go. Hello, Leo rising. What are you accepting in your life right now if you're in the sun sign of Leo? And what are you using free will to change if you are Leo rising? As you'll hear me say on this channel, I am exploring quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and quantum computing as a 46-year-old mom who finally tapped into her special powers. You know, once your kid is of a certain age, you get to stop being interrupted constantly and all of your thoughts are fragmented, and then suddenly your child turns about 12, mine's a little older, and you realize, oh, I did everything I can. This child is doing it for themselves. So like the mom gets to think again. So Leo, for some reason, I'm vibing that for you. Like, where are you mothering and where have you stopped mothering? And then once you stop mothering, where do you get to like terrifyingly, frantically, or like acceptingly, step into yourself? Is it when you went to the temple and then you lit a candle afterwards and realized that you had to do that for yourself? That's what's popping out. Any hoodle. All right, Leo rising. Let's do this. Hello. If I haven't told you already, this is my 3rd month on YouTube, and I am a chaos practitioner. Chaos practitioners don't choose this role; they embody it. So here we go. Let's take a deep breath, Leo. Leo rising. I got you. Uh-oh. Actually, not uh-oh. I don't know what this card is because I thought it was Animus, but it's Chyros. So I've had this deck for 5 years at least, and I have not seen that card once. I've read about it, but I have not seen it. So Chyros is your current situation. And I know it is in the last 4 cards of the deck. That's all I know about it. Along Anima Mundi. Oh! The prayer came before Chyros as your helper. And the sword is afterwards. And I think I'm gonna have you pull you and another person at the end of the reading. So if you can think of a person involved with your life right now that's very important to you, and then I'll help you figure out where you're at with that person. So let's check out the prayer, Leo. Thank you to the Wild Unknown and Kim Cran's. 195. That number might mean something to you. The prayer. So this is what's been helping you on your way to being Chyros. The worship, the reverence, the homage. What is prayer? When are we in this state of prayer and when are we not? To whom or what do we pray? Archetypally, the practice of prayer has been with us since the dawn of time as a remedy for the omnipresent self-centered thinking that spins us towards illusion. David Copperfield comes to mind. And the movie The Illusionist, and David Bowie, I think, played Tesla in that movie. Any hoodle. Some say we are in a state of prayer anytime we are not the center of our own thoughts. Others say prayer is a natural result of gratitude. Perhaps it is simply surrender or service. So like, in my opinion, like, I am an agnostic Unitarian, but I also accept all religions, especially if it makes you feel more comfortable going where you want to go after our imminent demise. But I do believe that we take shortcuts and excuses to make our 3D fantasy, 3D like get through death, 3D illusion, or 3D like subconscious or like blinded self. So when I see the prayer, I think about like televangelists or people who think they're doing good, or like Sally Struthers with like Save Africa. You guys, I'm old, so like my references don't count. Like if I was dating, like nobody would get anything I say. So sorry about my pop culture references. Like I'm trying to think of like a modern Christian person who's like using up society, and I guess that's our government. Did I just say that out loud? Bow and touch the ground as your heart lifts to the sky. Though it may be uncomfortable, it is time. Nothing else will do. So this was like a wing and a prayer, right? Like this is like Living on a Prayer Bon Jovi. Do you guys remember that? Another irrelevant MTV joke. Whoa, halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Just kidding. So halfway there. So that's like what you needed. You're like, I need something to get halfway there. So chyros, the current situation. Like I said, it's down here. Actually, it's 2 away from the end. It's 2:19. So that might mean something to you. Chyros, mythic time and synchronicity. You know what? That's cool. That's cool. So you can pray all you want because God has other plans, right? And that's the coolest part of like what you thought was helping you. Somebody else is helping you, by the way. We all have had experiences of timelessness, of life beyond the ticking clock. It may be felt as time standing still, slow motion, or losing track of time on a walk or in a lovely conversation. This is known as mythic time, and it is the territory of chyros. This card suggests there is a secondary time continuum. Yay, we're talking about quantum physics. This card suggests there is a secondary time continuum that goes beyond any earthly clocks and schedules, 3D. Within this non-linear realm, we access divine timing. So like if you say divine timing, it kind of makes you 3D and on earth, but if you just feel divine timing, it's like divine timing. A single moment ripens with auspiciousness, and our actions change the trajectory of our whole life. Time becomes a living thing that watches over us and tells us precisely when to speak or act. When this card appears, it is all about patience and precision. No clock can guide you. Wait for the rush of inner knowing and not a moment longer. So this is like intuition, spontaneity, impulsiveness. This is like, this guy reminds me of the guy who like stood against the wall at the dance and he's like, I really like her. Should I dance with her? Should I ask her to dance? I really like her. Please let her dance with me. Not trusting of self and like looking to a false god. And this is like, I am God. I'm God. And I'm down for the synchronicity of God. Like it's Ram Dass vibes. And then I have no idea because like I said, I've had this deck for like 5 years, but I've never seen this card. So it's the sword. I don't know if I was praying to not be a wallflower and I got my sword. It's like the Viagra of life or something. Okay, let's see. The sword. 189. That number might mean something to you. The sword, the knife, the blade, the weapon. To use the sword is to decide. The blade separates one reality from another. The choice is made and all else falls away. If you find the sword in your grasp, you can no longer hesitate. The weapon requires a clear and decisive mind and a willingness to act. An onlooker may think the sword bearer is hasty and violent, but the most compassionate and responsible gesture is one that is honest, swift, and accurate. That's self-trust, by the way. So this was like praying for self-trust. This seems like, oh, this is out of your control. This is like full moon energy, which makes sense. Like we just had the Aquarius full moon. This is kind of out. Look at the card. It's like there's a fractal. You're out of control, like in the best way. Like this is surrender. And then we have the sword, which is decisiveness. The sword is at birth when the cord we share with the mother is cut. The moment defines our separation from her and begins our journey of becoming ourselves. We must make these cuts again and again if we are to grow. Decisions shape our life, and the sword is an infamous shaper of destiny. Cutting through to what is essential. Hasty, backstabbing, and dull, painful blades. That reminds me of like grabbing a knife out of the drawer and like trying to cut like an orange, and then you're like smash the orange. Like if you smash your future, like sharpen your blade first after you learned all of this, because you sacrificed already and we don't need to show up with a dull blade is like what I'm vibing. Cutting through what is essential, or hasty, backstabbing, dull, and painful. Contemplate the Buddhist philosophy of the first and second arrow. Swing the sword once with precision and commitment. More than that will be painful for everyone involved. Dang. That sounds painful it does sound painful for everyone involved, because you're making decisive action. There was this wonderful photographer back in the 30s, I believe, named Henry Cartier-Bresson. And instead of like sports photography now these days where we have these long lenses and we have all these like excessive amounts of photos, Henry Cartier-Bresson created something called the decisive moment. And so an example of his work is he would set up a little folding chair and there would be a big puddle there. And he would sit, smoke cigarettes, maybe write in his journal. There was no cell phones then. And watch the puddle. And he had his photography set up. He would not shoot that photo until some kid ran across it, someone jumped over it, and that was the decisive moment. So the sword is your decisive moment. Like, don't mess that up. Like, sit by the puddle for a second, you know? All right, Leo. So, this is pretty intense stuff. This looks like it could hurt somebody. And you don't want to hurt, because when we hurt somebody, we hurt ourselves. And so your whims and your assimilation and then your decisive moment is like very cut and dry. And I vibe that there is somebody there that isn't prepared for your cut and dryness, because this prayer was done in secret. And so I feel like if there's something you're being cut and dry about at work or in love or something, like your big hang up right now is that you didn't talk about it in the past, and then you assimilated without telling somebody and you cut it. So I'm it's a very confusing vibe, right? So let's pull you out of the general energy. Leo rising, here we go. This is you. You are the forest, and the person most on your mind, or this most might be affecting, is the orphan. Holy Moses. Okay, I'm just going to glance over this real quick. I don't like to read this part other than energy, but I would like to look at the keywords for it. 195. The worship, the reverence, the homage. Okay, cool. So this is ego. You want to be worshipped and you want somebody to pay attention. And the orphan seems like they cannot fulfill that, in my opinion. But this seems like the thing that assimilates right there. Like, you don't need a prayer to assimilate. You can just assimilate. And then you get to decide what to cut. And like generally by the time you decide, there's been some growth and understanding and transformation. So let me check out the orphan. Aha, 71. It's pretty upfront. Okay. Of course, because it's like, you know, it was left there first, right? So the orphan, the wounded child, the abandoned, and the beggar. So that actually speaks to me of like why we would need to use a prayer. Like, we're not a beggar over here. We've already know we're going to assimilate. We already know we can make decisive action, right? So this is like regressive energy. So the thing that you might be attracted to is your own regression. So like if these weren't people, you might be attracted to your own regression, which would lead you here. But if you can like embody it, love it, accept it, like this could be flaws in other people that you love. If you can like take the orphan in, you can just assimilate automatically, and then the two of you can cut. Or you can be like, I better be careful with other people, or I'm not just going to descend into a forest. It's like the sword is informed is the word that comes to mind. So, Leo, this is intense. I am called to grab an animal oracle for you. A woodland warden. This is your helper in nature. You might see this like as far like the internet, in person. I don't know where you live. If you live like somewhere where you see wildlife, or if you live in a city. So if you live in a city, you might see this like on a computer screen or somebody's phone, but that doesn't make it any less important. It's just a sign, right, for you to take guidance. And if this reading doesn't resonate with you, like, come back another time and find out if it does. But like, I hope it does. Anticipation. That's kind of cool. Let me pull another one. And home. Oh, wow. Okay, so... Okay, you cut this. This is interesting. So, and you did this. Look. So, you know, there's a person that you have a little bit more care for. Maybe you're a little guarded. And then you're anticipating everybody's needs, kind of people-pleasing. But then somehow you find your own home. So, like, because you assimilated, because you cut, but then you embraced, you get to go home. That's freaking cool. That's very cool. Let's try for a affirmation card. $2025 August for the Leo. Let's give them something to think about. Each time I choose to tune in to spirit, guidance of the highest truth shows up for me. Each time I choose to tune in to spirit, guidance of truth shows up for me. And then it says, when I surrender my will to the care of spirit and the universe, I attune my energy with an ever-present stream of well-being. So lean in. Know that you've already got the tools. You've already cut it. So now it's empathy time for yourself and others. It looks like you're more guarded than the people you're caring for. So this is still like savior vibes. And it could be like afraid to save yourself, or like you don't feel whole unless you're saving somebody. So like that's some vibes to look out for. But like honestly, you've got all the tools you need, Leo. And I believe in you. Once again, this is T-Bear with Quantum Connections Oracle. I thank Kim Kranz for her Archetypes Guidebook. And I just want you guys to have the best August ever. We're finishing up a very nice summer here in Cali. And I want you guys to have a great summer, end of summer too. So hopefully you'll hit a swimming hole or like a place that's dear to your heart. Like, share, subscribe. 3rd month on YouTube. NorCal, Grateful Dead head. Love music. Looking for your comments. Looking for your shares. And just a ton of gratitude. So thank you, Leo. See you next time.